Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Crystal Benjamin. I'm current first vice president of the Zeta Chi Chapter. We're so happy that you all decided to spend your morning with us as we learn more about nonprofits and we get the expertise from the professionals themselves. Before we start, a little bit of housekeeping. The closest exits are this way. In case of emergency, please go to the current exit. Ladies' room out to the back and to the left. There are snacks or refreshments in the back, so please help yourself. And at this time, I'd like to give the floor over to our president for her to have some opening words. Sorry. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How is everyone this morning? It's early Saturday morning. I would like to welcome our guests and our speakers and our guests and say good morning to our sorors. And we also have our president from the Gloucester chapter. I do want to recognize her and enjoy this event. Thank you so much.
Once again, good afternoon, everyone.
Good morning.
Good catch. Good catch. So let's see who's awake. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
All right. Once again, welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us at our nonprofit know-how panel. I am Dominique Lee. I am the Zeta Chi Chapter journalist, and we have three amazing nonprofit leaders with us today. And today is all about equipping, empowering, and connecting leaders and change makers who are committed to making a lasting impact on our communities. Now, while our leaders do amazing, great things, I'm not going to read their full bios. Today's program is available by scanning the QR code at the top. You will be able to read that. But I will do a short introduction of each of our panelists today. Once technology comes up, say we're going to take our time today. To my immediate right, Mr. Edward Washington is a retired U.S. Army Sergeant, first class with 22 years of service, a former Cannon, Virginia senior leader, ordained deacon, and lifelong community servant. Raised in Newport News, Virginia, Mr. Washington built a career defined by leadership and mentorship, first guiding recruits as an Army counselor, then leading manufacturing teams at Cannon, Virginia for another 22 years before retiring in 2017. He is the leader of All Pro Dad, the Gloucester chapter of Virginia, and we want to welcome him today. In the middle, we have Bianca Myrick, a former educator of 12 years. Bianca holds a degree in elementary education from Virginia State University, go Trojans, a master's in public administration from VCU, and a nonprofit managing certificate from Duke University. She brings that full toolkit to her part-time work as an adjunct professor, nurturing future educators at Virginia State, and through her business, Bianca Myrick Counseling, where she supports nonprofits with training, grant writing, and fractional support. Please welcome Bianca Myrick, the founder of Pretty Purpose. NaQuetta Mitchell is a certified trauma-informed care specialist, grief coach, and transformation coach, whose life work was born not from a boardroom, but from the battlefield of lived experience. A longtime native of Hopewell, Virginia, NaQuetta founded Women of Endurance in 2016, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to inspiring, assisting, and empowering single mothers and families in crisis across the Tri-Cities region of Central Virginia. In 2026, she took the courageous step of leaving her full-time career in local government to serve as executive director full-time, a declaration that her community's needs could no longer wait. Everyone, please welcome Ms. NaQuetta Mitchell. So we are honored to be joined by these leaders whose organizations serve powerful and unique ways, from empowering women to strengthen families, to uplifting fathers and communities. This conversation is going to be rich with insight. So let's dive right in. Each of your organization serves the community in unique ways. How do your missions intersect when it comes to empowering individuals and families holistically? Mr. Washington, can you answer that question for me first?
Yes, I think my organization, the All Pro Dad, it empowers men to do something with their children. Basically, it's basically having a meal uh, once a month at the school, and I think what it does, it motivates the kids. The feedback that I got from it is that we get back from it each time is that um, the kids were happy, the fathers were happy, they were talking to other people about it. 12 years ago, we had a little classroom in the back of the school with 3 dads and 3 kids. Today, on an average school, the middle school is averaging about 60 students and 60 dads. The high school is averaging about 70. The elementary schools, all 5 of them, are averaging for that breakfast in the morning between 210 and 250 people that comes out. So I think the organization is good. This organization is also United States wide. It's about 1,400 chapters within the United States. For Gloucester, the chapter that I'm in charge of, we have 8 schools. It's the only chapter in the United States that has all schools for that county participating in this program.
Excellent, thank you. Bianca, same question.
You asked, how do the missions intersect?
Yes, how can your missions intersect when it comes to empowering individuals and families holistically?
So the work that we do is girl-centered. We support about 250 girls annually through mentorship that happens at their schools year-long. But then they also get access to our enrichment and weekend activities all through the year. And so I definitely think it intersects holistically with their missions, because at the center of our girls' world is their family, their fathers, father figures, but also their mothers. We support a very diverse range of girls, although we center Black girls in our work. We have families that span the socioeconomic spectrum. A large portion of our families are coming from situations where they may be overcoming circumstances similar to how NaQuetta's organization is supporting women. So there's definitely an intersection, because like I said, at the heart of our work is the family. We don't want to do anything with our girls without considering the family. Like, that would be crazy. I'm a mother and my son is involved in many programs. There's nothing that you should be doing with my son without considering me, if that makes sense. So everything that we do, it centers the girl, but the center of her world is the family. And that's a direct intersection with what this organization and this organization does. Dads, moms, overcoming crisis, overcoming difficult circumstances, raising the importance of fatherhood. We intersect with a lot of dads in our organization. A lot of times I'm talking to dads. These dads are stepping up. They're bringing girls to events. They're bringing girls to things. And they're like, Miss B, I don't know what's going on, but we trust you. You know what I mean? They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. So I think all of our work intersects. We're just centering different people in our work.
NaQuetta, would you like to add to that?
Yes, I can't agree with Bianca more about us all playing a vital role in what family looks like now. For Women of Endurance, we are honing in more on a trauma-informed side of it. For a lot of the moms that we run into, or that come to us or refer to us, they're in crisis. So what we are trying to do is build more of a wraparound service for them, more of a continuum of care, because whether enough people want to acknowledge it or not, mothers are the backbones of family. And a lot of time, if mama ain't good, nobody's good. So for Women of Endurance, we try to help mothers lift that load, especially single mothers. Because a lot of times, most single mothers, we're on autopilot. And I say we because I am one. We are trying to get through every day to the best of our ability. But most of the time, we are very cognizant of the fact that we're trying to raise children in a world that is not as caring as we would like. So being able to start doing more collaborative work is where we're at. We love the information that we heard from All Pro Dad because contrary to popular belief, fathers have a role even in the household of a single mother. Finding that being able to have access to organizations that say, hey, I know there's not a father there, but we have men who are willing to step up. Single mothers who are raising their daughters and doing the best they can, but they're working like nobody's business. It is a blessing to know that there's a pretty purpose in the community that will help us and be our village to raise our daughters. So our works are always colliding when it comes down to really doing hard work.
And I want to add on to what Quita said because NaQuetta and I work in the same region. We're in the Tri-Cities region mainly. And so to put that into practice, I'm going to give like a practical example. So if I have a family, we do mutual aid at Pretty Purpose. It's not something that we advertise because I really don't want people coming to our organization asking for stuff when that's not our mission. But it's something that we do internally. Our families know that if there's a need and that we can fulfill it because we have the general operating support to do it, that we will do it. So having someone like Quita in my network, I know that if there's a family that may need something like diapers, I can go to Quita directly. Quita sometimes will put things out there for families, and she might be raising money for a family that needs support, and we will just do a donation. No, we're not about to advertise it because, like I said, it's not in my business acumen to put out there that we do mutual aid. Our work is mentorship. But behind the scenes, we're always doing mutual aid to each other's organizations. And so I just wanted to put that out there that in practice, that's what that looks like, that I can have someone that I can call up directly. And Quita knows that she has someone that she can call up directly if we're going to help a family, especially if it's a family of one of our girls.
Thank you. That's an awesome segue into our next section, which is about development and sustainability. As we know, with any organization, you start from the ground up, but that's especially true for nonprofits. So, NaQuetta, I'll start with you with this question. What are some key strategies nonprofits should use to build strong foundations while still scaling their impact?
I believe so. For Women of Endurance, I've created a network of hope. So going back to kind of what Bianca said, mutual aid. For a lot of nonprofits, what happens is that the minute we put out that we're a nonprofit, people are just like, oh, I can go to them for everything. And it's like, whoa, Kemosabe. I can't do everything. I can do what I can. And when you have created a network of hope for your organization, for the families that you serve, you do not feel the burden of having to do everything or being everything for everybody. And a lot of times, and I say that a lot of times because I was one of those people. I was community Quita. What you need, I got it. I can do it. I can do it. And yeah, burnout is real. So I always stress to nonprofits, especially when you're in the beginning stages, define your lane and stay in it because there's less traffic there. My ministry is not, even though I'm a mom of two girls, my ministry is not mentoring teenage girls. I can come in and talk if Bianca needs me to, but there's no reason that I should be doing it if I know that that's Bianca's ministry. I can talk to a young man about being a better father, but if I know Mr. Washington, that is his ministry, I'm going to refer them to Mr. Washington versus me, unfortunately, trying to do it all. More organizations have to be okay with saying no, saying that this is exactly what I do, and having people honor their boundaries. I have made sure that my board is set up with individuals who will tell me, Quita, chill out. Quita, you can't do all of that. Bianca's here. She's looking at me. She's like, I'm one of them. Yeah. Bianca keeps me in line. She's like, girl, I know. And I had to navigate that because, like Bianca said, we're doing the work in the communities that raised us. So nobody looks at us for real, like nonprofit founders. They look at me like, oh, that's Quita that I used to play basketball with, or that's Quita who I gave a chocolate milk to in third grade. She owed me. Like, you want another chocolate milk? Like, I can give you that, but I can't give you $2,000 for your energy bill right now. You're like, well, you done changed, because no, I just don't have $2,000. I'm the same we do. So, making sure that you define your boundaries is one of the best things I can say in the beginning stages of creating your foundation for your nonprofit.
Bianca, same question.
So I'm going to talk about it from a business perspective.
Absolutely.
Because nonprofits are not businesses. So when you make a donation to a nonprofit, it does not go in our personal pockets. It goes to the org, to the overall budget, and the budget supports the mission. But we have to think like a business. And so our work has scaled. Like when we first started, it was 7 girls, 1 site, gradually grew, and now we're at 3 community sites and 20 schools. So it has scaled. So what that has looked like, I think from a business, or I think you said sustainability and development perspective, is very quickly you have to put people in place to do things. You cannot do everything. So very quickly, I realized that someone has to be over programs, because in order for this organization to scale, quite frankly, I can't be running our programs, because I have to raise money. I have to think about strategy. I have to build partnerships. I have to do policies, procedures, processes. I have to get the things in place for the organization to run. So that was one part of the scale, is recognizing, oh my goodness, I absolutely have to put someone over our programs. And for our organization, we have 2 people that have been with us since inception. So we've had a no staff turnover, if that makes sense. These people know the organization well, and I can trust them to run the programs. As we grew, I recognized, oh my goodness, Bianca, it's just you that's really raising the money. You've got to create a culture of philanthropy and fundraising within your organization, because it cannot just fall on you. So teaching other people how to network, how to be ambassadors for our organization. So that means the board, but also our staff. I know you're the communications person, but girl, you going to this network event with me. You know what I mean? Teaching everybody that it's a culture of philanthropy, and it's not about making the ask for money. It's about bringing people into the work. Like, come in and see what we do, to see if this aligns with you. Additionally, I realized that, with small nonprofits like ours, we don't have a development department where there's a grant writer, a major gifts officer, all the development roles that you see with large institutions or with large nonprofits. They have like a development director, an advancement person, a major gifts person. They have like a legacy person who's just responsible for connecting with people who are dead and getting their money. We don't have that. We've got one person. And so I realized that one thing that I had to do was, instead of focusing on growing all the revenue strategies at one time, I really just could focus on one. So like for a couple of years, I just focused on our grant strategy, just grants. Like, how can I make sure that we are grant ready, that we are connected with institutions and funders? They know who we are. And then it was like, okay, we've got that down. Now let's focus on what it looks like to really focus on individual donations, grassroots donors, people who are donating $5, $10, $15, $20, 100, those type of donations. How do we figure out a strategy to start to grow that? And then it's like, you know what? A year later, let's talk about our corporate strategy. How do we bring corporations like Dominion, Bon Secours, or these big corporations? Y'all know who I'm talking about. How do we bring them into the work? How do we build relationships with them? How do we get them volunteering and seeing what we do so that they want to invest in our work? Because they should be, right? They're making billions and billions of dollars. They have to put some of that money somewhere. And so it was a very strategic thing of like, Bianca, you can only really focus on one thing at a time. I know that consultants and people will be like, oh, you got to have grants, individual donors, planned giving, all the things, but there's only one of me. So let's talk about what we can realistically focus on and scale a little bit at a time, if that makes sense.
Mr. Washington, can you speak on development and sustainability as a chapter of a bigger organization?
And what I think is strategy. I wrote down a couple of notes. I think you got to have a good plan. So you have to plan for what you want to do, and then you have to look at it and make sure that the plan that you have the right vision yourself. You're going out there to do it, and you have the right people that's around you. So your strategy, you have to plan for it. Okay. Then I wrote down another one. With this nonprofit thing that we all do, time management. Time management is very, very important because I still got to give some time to my family. I got to give some time to my church. I got to give some time to the community. I got to give some time to this all pro dad. I got to make sure I have enough time. I only have 24 hours, and it's just me and a few more people. So what I found out is that, like I told you guys before, we had a classroom, we had 3 or 4 dads or whatever. And some of that was because of funding. So my strategy that I use is that I go to the dentist. He sits me down, sticks a needle in my mouth, and numbs me. Then he tells me, don't eat, don't chew, don't do nothing for 2 hours, and he sends me home. He sends me a bill the very next day for $375. Insurance took care of some of it. But I'm still looking at that bill that I have to pay. I go to my doctor. She tells me, Eddie, I don't like the way your blood pressure is running right now. And she said, but I'm not going to put you on pills. I'm not going to give you any medication for it. Come back in 3 months. So I'm tied to that for that time management to come back. But then I talked to my financial advisor, and she says that this stock is not doing that much, Eddie. You might want to change. You're getting a little older. You might not want to, be aggressive with it. But I want to be aggressive with my all pro dad. Okay. So what I came up with, my strategy is that every time that the next time that I went to my doctor, the next time that I went to my dentist, the next time that I went to talk to my financial advisor, I told them what I was going to do. So the last one I got is sales. I sold them on my program. Today, when I go, I walk away with a check. You follow what I'm saying? My dentist, he knows, and I talk to him, and he says, you know how they talk to you before they come? He gives me a check. My doctor, I talk to her, she strokes me a check. My financial advisor, we don't talk, but we talk a lot, but we don't get together but a couple times a year. She strokes me a check. So I think planning, doing your time management, and I think you're selling to the people that you are already paying to. Just a little bit. My dentist, his brother is a minister. Guess who gives me now too? His brother. His brother church say, I want to take over, because I give them gifts after each program. I want to take over 2 schools, Eddie, and I'm going to make sure that those schools, this church is going to make sure those schools have the gifts. Sometimes it's 4 per school, sometimes it's 6 or 7 gifts that we give them. So if you plan and have a strategy, and then you get, I call it and when I was a recruiter in the Army, I call it a referral. If I put this young lady's son in the military, I'm probably going to knock on her door every month just to check on them. Then she's going to say, you know, I got a nephew. He ain't doing what? He ain't doing nothing, right? Can you talk to him, Sergeant Washington? Sure, I can talk to him. Same thing with nonprofit, okay? You're doing something good, you have a good strategy, other people will step up to the plate and help you out. But you have to have some type of plan. It's like these ladies are talking about, you know, you gave that person, what was it? A chocolate milk. You gave them a chocolate milk. If you don't watch it, they don't want the little thing that you gave them in the third grade. They looking for a whole gallon. So that's what I think about have some strategy. Then, you know, keep it on a scale that you can control it and use time management wisely.
These are some awesome answers, aren't they, y'all? Yes. So now the meat and potatoes that everybody wants to talk about, finance and resource management, which naturally came up in the conversation already. And Bianca, I know you just got a new space for Pretty Purpose. Congratulations. I wanted to start with you with this question. Financial sustainability is critical. What are some common mistakes nonprofits make with funding, and how can they avoid them?
Common mistakes would be putting your eggs in one basket. So like, you really should have diversified revenue, like different revenue streams. Putting all your dependents into one funder. Not having a clear picture of impact and expecting people to invest in that. I would also say sometimes your programs will grow before your revenue. Like programs are needed, the community wants the program, but you don't have the capacity, you don't have the revenue. But you go ahead anyway because this school wants you there, or we really need you. That has to stop, because you're going to be setting yourself up for failure because you literally don't have the revenue to support what you're doing. A friend was telling me about a corporation that was giving them like donations of stuff, but they weren't giving them money. And how it creates a barrier, because now I have all this stuff, but do I have anyone to sort the stuff, put away? You get what to manage the stuff. And so I think that we often have to get very clear with people about this is not a business, but it takes resources, time, and capacity to run this. And that friend was saying how she told that corporation that you've now created a barrier for me, because we've got all this stuff that I got to take back, and you're a big corporation that makes all this money, and now I got to figure out what I'm going to do with this stuff. So setting clear boundaries and getting really clear with people about the business part of it, which quite often we don't do. That wasn't something that I did in the beginning, because what happened is that I founded this organization and it just naturally grew. So I had to learn how to be a businesswoman, and I had to learn how to be an executive director. It wasn't something that I went to school for initially. My trade is elementary education. That's not a business person. That's education. And so I think if I had to tell people anything, it's from the beginning, be community minded and be very clear on what the business part of this looks like. That's something that I wish I could go back and do instead of I had to get a rein on it a little bit after the fact. But that's definitely a mistake that I see people make, is they're just not clear with people on the business aspect. They will allow the programs to grow before the infrastructure and the funding is there. You will put your eggs all in one funder basket, like this funder is going to give me this. And then what happens when the world goes crazy? Politics change, funding is gone, and then you're left with a gap to fill. We saw nonprofits who were getting $1 million in federal grants, and then all of a sudden the political environment shifted and people was like, oh, Bianca, are you okay? I'm like, well, we never got that type of money. Our money was always in community and in like local funders, like funders that I could literally go to and sit and have a combo with, corporations with a person behind it, or everyday people like you who were funding the mission. And so I think I've seen smaller orgs who get really big influxes of funding make that mistake, and then it's gone and they don't have something to fall back on. COVID was an example. A lot of people got a lot of COVID funding, and then when it ran out, they didn't have a plan. We got some COVID funding, but it was very minimal. I'm talking about we probably got like 20K. That ain't nothing. So for us, when the COVID, that little bit of money ran out, it was like, okay, that's just a little, that's not nothing that we were like, we're not over here getting hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're getting to a space where we're getting larger buckets of funding. And I'm careful. That needs to come slowly. We want to be able to manage what is given to us. We want to be able to manage it so that if it goes away, we're okay. And so that's a mistake that I see people make when it comes to, the financial sustainability management piece, because it's exciting. But you know what? I don't want no big influx of money if I can't manage it. Or if I don't know that after a couple years when it's gone, I don't know where that money is gonna come from. Does that make sense? Because our girls are counting on having a program at their school. They're counting on trips. They're counting on things. I have 5 employees too. 4 of them I'm full-time. We have 4 part-time. Those part-time people are counting on having a job. I don't ever want to have to be like, let you go. I don't want to have that conversation. I know big institutions have it all the time and they keep it moving. But it's different when your work is small and personal. You'll go without before you let your team go without. So I don't ever want to have that conversation at no time soon. So very small. Let's get grassroots. The $5,000 donation from a corporation, that means something. Because I could probably go back and easily get that again. Opposed to the $500,000 grant. If I get enough corporations to give me $5,000, that means something. Opposed to always counting on these big, big dollars.
NaQuetta, same question.
Well, for Women of Endurance, we were the epitome of grassroots organization. When I started Women of Endurance, it was because I was working at a local social services, and that social services didn't have any diapers to give to families that came in there. So literally, I was slinging diapers out of my car. Like, I would ask my friends on Facebook to donate diapers, and I was just giving them out, doing pop-ups and giving them out. So when you talk about financial stability, when I started, there was none. I could only do what I could do when I had the money or when my friends would donate. As you get more business minded, because I too, like Bianca, nonprofit was not my trade. Social worker, that's what I do. I work in school districts. I do that work. It was never nonprofit. I had to go through pain to turn that into purpose for me to be able to birth a nonprofit. So when you're doing hard work, A lot of times you lead with your heart and the work comes later. And when you become business minded, you understand that it's all has to go together. Like you can love doing this work, but if you don't have the business side of it handled, it's going to fail. And then you're going to feel even worse because, like she said, you don't want to have to tell somebody you can't pay them. You don't want to have, one of, and Bianca will tell you that one of the hardest things for me to do is tell a single mom that I cannot help, that our organization cannot help them with whatever they're going through because we are limited on funds. So when you start thinking more business minded, you go harder when it comes to trying to diversify your funds. Because like Bianca said, if you only got one funder and something goes wrong with that funder, you're out bad. So for Women of Endurance, we've always been a community funded organization. Like we can literally, because of the works we do and the impact that we've made, we can get on social media and say, we got a single mom going through A, B, and C. Are y'all able to assist? And before we know it, I'm getting a call from our director of fundraising or finances, like, all right, y'all done did it. Take the post down. Like the donations are coming in.
Right.
But then there's the moments where, like over the last 3 months, when you have such a high number of women out of the workforce, when that is your target audience, when that is your one of your biggest funders, you're sitting there trying to figure out how are we going to navigate this season. Because it's not that these women don't want to give, it's that they really can't. They're out of work. And it's so many women of color who over the last, I would say, 6 months have really had to change the trajectory of what their career looks like. So for an organization like Women of Endurance, where people literally think Women of Endurance when a woman is in crisis, they're automatically sending them to us. So when it comes to our finances, we are working diligently, constantly on diversifying it. And as we are preparing to get our own space so that we can do more intentional hard work with moms, we have to start thinking about those things. Like, okay, you get a space, then what? Where's the furniture coming from? Where are the donations coming from? Where are the supplies coming from? What partners do you have that'll be able to pour into that too? So the financial stability should always be one of the first things that an organization thinks about and how to sustain it, because nonprofits unfortunately come and go because a lot of us are doing hard work versus us putting it all together and really doing hard work and thinking about the business side of it. So for me, I'm grateful to have individuals in my corner, my mentors, Bianca, that I can call and literally say, how do I cultivate a board of philanthropy, a culture of philanthropy in my organization where I'm not just the only one asking for money, the only one trying to get funding. So that is the biggest piece, is be intentional about the work part of it, because the work part is what's going to sustain you. The heart should go nowhere if it's attached to the mission, but the work, especially the financial part of it, is a really big part of it.
And partnership. You mentioned the space that we got.
Yes.
Okay, so we're leasing space from a church, and it was like people came, like our parents was like, y'all really need a space. My team was like, programs, it was like, we really need a space because even though our programs are in schools, all of our supplies were in 2 storage units. Your operations become fractured when you're operating like that. And so from a sustainability standpoint, I'm like, I don't know if we can afford the overhead of a space. I have seen orgs where the first thing that got to go is the space, then the next thing is the staff.
Yeah.
I didn't want high overhead. I didn't want to be paying $3,000 a month in rent. I just didn't want to do it. And that's what the commercial market is looking like. And then you'll get like a little bit of space.
Yeah.
And you paying $2K, $3K a month and what?
And y'all can be
So we approached the church, and sisterhood as infrastructure. Literally started put it out there to a funder. That person was like, oh, I think I know somebody who's in a space in a church, and they might be looking to like one of them big old churches with all the rooms. And then that person connected me to that person, and I connected with the church. And my thought process was, the rent that I pay, if some ever happened, I want to be able to go to somebody and be like, can you write me a check for this? Like, just cover the rent. Sustainability, you know what I mean? And so we entered into the partnership with the church, where the church was just happy. They was like, yeah, because they could use that money for whatever they need to use that money for. And then we have this space where we're paying low rent. And we have 5 rooms in the space. And they're nice sized rooms. And so then the next piece was raising money to curate the space. It's very beautiful. If you follow our work, we've been posting a few pictures.
Yes, I've seen them on Facebook.
Yeah, that's been my little baby project that I've been working on since July, is making the space over, because it is an old church. And so we wanted it to be beautiful, but it was not hard. People like beautification. They will give to that. Like, oh, we raising money for a band. We raising money to beautify a space. So it wasn't hard to raise the funds for this space to make it over. But from a sustainability and business standpoint, it's like, I don't want high rent. I want to be able to just like easily pay this rent. Plus, I don't want our budget to go from here to now it's ballooned because we have this space. Once again, sustainability, small steps. So I feel like that's a business mindset. No bad business decisions of like getting super high space and then having to move out of it because we can't afford the rent.
Thank you. Mr. Washington, I saw you taking notes.
Yeah.
What are some common mistakes that nonprofits make?
Some of the mistakes that we might make, we have to identify the opportunities that's available to us. We have to know those opportunities, and we have to always be looking for more opportunities, like your church space. If you didn't talk to anybody else, you wouldn't have never knew about that. So you put those type of things out there. So there's all type of opportunities that will come if you just talk about something. But you have to create a business model, okay, and a business mode with a canvas over top of it to cover it. And I know nonprofit is not a business, but you have to use some of the business techniques to be able to be successful if you're in nonprofit. Like mine's is the All Pro Dad. We go to the schools, okay? And she read in my bio that I'm a deacon also. So when I go to the school, I can't go there and open up with morning prayer, okay? But I prayed all the way over there. You understand what I'm saying? That this will be successful. I prayed that when I go to the restaurant and I talk to them, I say, can I get 5 coupons for your meals? Be able to give it out to the program. They will give me those. You got to determine, and I got this. I'm glad you asked this question. I got this from a class I went to in 2019, and I turned to someone put me to this page. You got to determine your capital requirements. If you're a nonprofit and because I work with one, and we had a little office. That office was costing us $1,600 a month. Sometimes we got a little bit, to include me, we got a little bit worried about getting $1,600 than to go put a door on a senior citizen home. You follow me? So we lost a little bit of focus. So sustainability, if you lose focus, you never can help everybody. And some of the people that you help with your nonprofit, they're not gonna be grateful for that you helped them anyway. Okay, but you still got to be able to help. You got the nonprofit. You have to evaluate the risks, because there's a lot of risk out there that's gonna happen to you. So you have to evaluate the risks. And the most important thing in evaluating the risk, you got to align yourself with the right people. The 4 part-time people you got, right? They probably work just as hard as full-time. Okay, those are the right people. Okay, and if you put up a notice that you're having a job and it's a nonprofit, I mean, we can't pay it. We don't pay a whole lot. Okay, all right. You may not only work for 4 hours for us. Okay, we will pay you, but it's not a lot.
It's hard work.
It's hard work.
It's hard.
I'm just saying, that's how it is.
Hard work.
I get one. Okay, right. And then the risk and the sustainability that you want to avoid is that you have to assess your return on investment.
Facts.
If you are investing in something, you have to assess what the return is, not for your own good yourself, but for your organization. How's All Pro Dad? Because at this point, my county does not give free meals to the kids. How am I going to pay for a dad breakfast at $3.15 a breakfast, plus the child's breakfast at $1.75? Okay, and I got 300 of them there that morning. How am I going to pay for that? Okay, so I have to assess that. Am I going to say, hey, don't, guidance counselors only schedule 85 because that's all the money I got? No, send me that 300. Okay, because my plan and my canvas that I have built over, which I call it my business, okay, or over my nonprofit, I have a canvas over top of it. So when you have a canvas over top of something, what does that canvas do?
Covers it.
It covers it. It protects it, right? And I ain't come to preach, but what does the good Lord do? Huh? What does the good Lord do? Come on, y'all.
Covers and
Huh?
protects.
What does he do? He covers us.
Covers
Huh?
us.
All the way up here from Richmond. Signs saying they working, they doing everything on the road, right? I got here.
Amen.
I got 300 people. I got to pay for that breakfast. It's paid for. So sustainability is there for us if we do the right thing and put the right people around us. Somebody that we looked at today, that we'll see today, and we'll say, wonder what they doing. They got some money for your nonprofit. But if you just say, what are they doing?
Yeah.
And don't go up to them and ask them and tell them what you do and how you work, and even tell them what you need, you'll never know. And I say that because I know it's true, because at my high school, 2 fathers came up to me and said, Mr. Washington, how are you paying for it? I said, oh, the breakfast is all covered. The next time they came, for some reason, those same 3 men were standing on the outside of the high school. They didn't go in to check in. When I walked up with my bag and all the stuff that I have, they say, we got something for you. We know you couldn't take it while we was in school.
Yeah.
Gave me an envelope.
Yeah.
Paid for all of those breakfasts that day. I don't know how they wondered how many of us came. It was enough in there to take care of that school for that particular time. And that's what you got. You got to sustain that. And then the last thing, because I know it's finance and all like that, you have to be good stewards with money. You have to be good stewards. Okay. I'm military and I'm military retired. I don't go in a store when I get to the register. I'm a senior citizen and I'm military. Do you have any type of discount? Do you have any type of discount? And I have them, they look at me and say, it's only on Wednesdays. And it's Tuesday. And usually I would say, I'll come back Wednesday. Gas prices going up so high there. I just get that on Tuesday because I'm not driving way across the bridge to get what we have. But it's just sustainability. And then these ladies, I think y'all get a little bit more than me into the capital. Your type of capital requirements, because you have employees that you have to pay and then other things. So we got some good organizations out there that you can ask to do something, and they've been around a long time. So you got to align yourself with those good people and do that. and you always want to have low funds. Can I get it for free?
Yeah.
Can I get it on a discount? Because guess what? I'm giving it away. It's not mine.
Yeah.
I'm giving that way. And another thing that we do with All Pro Dads, every Thanksgiving, I go to the guidance counselors and community ed and I say, do you have a family? Or do you have any families that don't have anything for Thanksgiving? Every year they come up. I say, I got 8 schools. I say, I can only do five per school. They give me the name. They don't give me the names. They give me the number and how many people's in the family. And we provide through the All Pro Dad a meal for that family. Last year, on an average, with the turkey and the canned goods and all that stuff that they have that we have for Thanksgiving, yams and all of that, the average family got over 75 pounds of food.
Wow.
Okay, and that was 45 families, and then because I got a daughter that's PTA for her school, she said that I got 10, and I said I don't have 10 more turkeys, but we packed up the other stuff for those. She drove down from here in Richmond and gave it to a school of that. Did not pay 1 penny for anything. Person called me and say they got turkeys on sale for 49 cents a pound, and I have my SUV full up.
Mm.
Do you have anywhere to put them? Nope. I didn't tell them. Nope. I said, yeah, I got somewhere to put them. We had turkeys going to everybody that had a freezer or whatever, because I knew some people. I knew some people doing that. And we started this program like 6 years ago with the All Pro Dad, and now they're calling me up in October saying, you know, it's Thanksgiving coming around. We got the families already ready. So sustainability is good, and and then you gotta also, and I know I'm talking a lot, you gotta avoid negativity. You can't listen to the ones that say, no, I can't do that or whatever. You got an ideal and they shoot it down. I like what you said. You got some people with you had an ideal, they got to bring you down some, but they didn't shoot the whole. Where's she at? Raise your hand.
Raise your hand.
Raise your hand. Where's she at?
Bianca, right back there.
Right
That's
back
the
there.
person that bring me down.
Okay, she bring
I
you
be
down.
here.
She be up there.
I be in
Mars,
Mars.
but she
She
didn't
bring me
shoot.
right back
She
to
didn't
the
shoot
door.
your ideal down.
She's like,
She said you got to do a little bit at a time. We got to take. We got to take some. We got to take some. We got to take some. Baby steps.
Yeah.
Like when I go to Walmart, then some of them kindergarten see me, they start leaving their parents and say, "There go Mr. Washington." Wait a minute, we're in the wrong store for me to buy this. But that's what you got to do.
I really wanted to piggyback off of what Mr. Washington said about not being afraid to ask for free stuff.
Right.
Because there are so many organizations, so many corporations that they're supposed to. They are supposed to do it year long, but we are so afraid to ask for it. I am not afraid, Bianca, tell you, I'm gonna ask. What's the worst you're gonna do is tell me no. Ask these organizations. I tell people, a lot of these small businesses that you're constantly going to, that they're like, oh, Miss Mitch, I'm so glad you came by. It's good to see you. We haven't seen you and the girls since week before last. Yeah, thank you. I know that y'all, we came here for dinner, but would y'all be willing to sponsor a single mom who's postpartum with a meal train? They're like, absolutely. Where do we sign up at? You have to get to the point where you're comfortable asking. And I know for a lot of us, our parents would tell us, you be begging people for stuff. You be asking. You always begging. I'm begging because it's not for me. It's for this mom who is really going through a really hard time, who needs it. You got furniture you don't need anymore, let us know. We'll work out the logistics because I got a new mom who just fled domestic violence and she needs it. People are like, oh yeah. Women have called me all the time. Yeah, well, I'm going to talk to my husband. I'm going to tell him you really need it because I need a new bed set. And between you and your husband. Y'all work out the rest of it. So these are the things that you have to be prepared for when you're doing nonprofit work. You're not offending anybody by asking for the things that the families that you support need. Even Mr. Washington, like you said, he didn't have to ask that dad or anybody to stand outside the school and give him an envelope to help him with what he was doing. They saw the work that he was doing. And, even the word says, may our work speak for us. Like that is what we want. And once you do this work long enough, your work starts speaking for you. You really get to a point where it's like you're putting out information for awareness. It's not bragging because the community is going to speak on your works. You barely have to say anything. And there's so many of us that we're just like out of nowhere. Bianca called me and said, hey, this person is trying to do this. Can I give them your number because they want to bless? I'm like, yeah, the same thing with Bianca. If I know of something that's going to bless the girls that she's working with, if I know of an organization that wants to do more intentional work with girls, I'm going to send them to Bianca because I know what she's doing and her works have spoken for her. So don't feel bad. Forget what your mama said, big. Because people don't know what you mean when you start big.
With that being said, we're going to take a small 5-minute break. We have refreshments in the back for those who came in late. Please sign in on the sign-up sheet. Please meet our panelists, and we will come back at probably 12:09. Let's say 12:09.
So sometimes
Well, oh, getting some money. All right now. I hope everybody's refreshed and recharged after that break. So we're going to jump right back into it. NaQuetta, this question's for you because I know that Women of Endurance was running solely off of Facebook when you first started. And now you have a beautiful website. With that being said, what role does storytelling play in increasing community engagement and donor support?
For women of endurance, it was my marketing strategy. Social work, marketing was a major part of my life. Like, people don't, if you don't know the story, they have no desire or want to assist you with changing the trajectory of how things go. I was a story for women because I was so transparent about all that I was going through, cleaning up the house, going through the door, navigating, being my children's mother, raising them while I'm healing. So it was, there's so many people who literally watched me navigate those things. So my lived experience is so much a part of what women have done. Gave a lot of things. So that's why I was so intentional about my honesty. I didn't want people to think that I just woke up. I woke up like this. No, it was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of that were happening behind the scenes. I think part of the story about I initially had the thought of doing it, and I was like, I don't know how I can do this, being a social worker in a limited work locality, but God is telling me. And when I talked to her, she went to my Facebook. She was like, okay, well, this is no brainer. This is, we are already on this journey with you for the story. And people understand that you were able to work for yourself already to help other women. So it was after COVID. I realized, oh, like I was hearing Tucker. If you didn't know, you didn't know what was going on. But after talking to the about it, it was like, okay, you gotta get donors want to come to the website, donors want to donors follow your this organization because most donors are not on the website. It is not there. Like you get lucky here and there with some people who believe in it, but in the grand scheme of corporation, they are not on the website. Grateful for the power of that for taking our marketing up about. I didn't even think about it like that. So once I started talking to her, and I'm like, okay, 7 minutes of the time, I'm going to find that everything that's in my brain, make it happen. Got you. I told her everything, and she was like, okay, so I'm about to do this, and I was grateful because that was during this where she was out of work. So the intentionality that she put into making sure that our website was a soft place for mom navigate. This is what you need. Look here, go here. Now, you know what we want to do. That's it. How we want to those are because how we really ran with the vision. So today I was like, that's more stuff. We'll be in context. Marketing is really, really, really important to engage. organization gets to a certain place, like she said, we're gonna do it off of Facebook, and my person was literally people coming up to social services and working into the school, will come into the school. Hey, this was what I need such and such. I'm like, well, what was I having? Don't be fired.
Okay.
But it was like that because we had no other way to get contact. So once we were able to get the website there, we have this thing to everything. We got to get the Bible. I encourage any actual nonprofit actually show you the website. You don't have to start worrying. You can do the landing page. This is what we need for more information. That's another value that everybody came on. Everybody came on. Tell me everything that was going on first. Having to stream where personally or actually.
You're welcome. Mr. Washington, same question.